This is the Ottawa Senators Outlook. Here is your host, Jack Henry.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ottawa Senators Outlook. I'm your host, Shaq. This is my recap reaction to the Oilers game, so let's get right to it. So, the Senators' 6-game winning streak is officially snapped. They lose to the Edmonton Oilers by a final score of 3-1. In the first period, Victor Arvidsson scores to make it 1-0 Edmonton. That's all you have in the first period. 25 seconds in the second period, Nick Cousins scores his fifth to tie it up at 1. And then Zach Hyman at 14:05 on the power play to make it 2-1 Edmonton. And then in the third period, a minute 38 in, Adam Henrique scores. 3-1 is your final. So the goaltending matchup, and we're going to talk about this in depth a little bit more. The goaltending matchup was Linus Ullmark versus Stuart Skinner. And Linus Ullmark played the first period, and all of a sudden he's out for the second period and for the rest of the game. So Linus Ullmark, that is concerning. That is probably what a lot of Sens fans are more worried about. Like, take the 6-game win streak out of here for a minute, because at this point you were going to lose a game regardless, and I had a weird feeling we were going to lose this game after the way they were playing Calgary and Vancouver. Even though we won those 2 games in overtime, I didn't think it was going to cut it against a team like the Oilers, and I was right. So the Oilers, like I said, they come away with a win, but Linus Ullmark's injury is very concerning, and hopefully he's not out long term. So it seems like an upper body injury, and hopefully he's just able to just rehab it or whatever he needs to do during the break, and hopefully he's ready to go by next Saturday against Winnipeg, because we cannot afford to have him out long term. Anton Forsberg is hurt, and he hasn't done anything to prove that he's worth being a backup for us this year. Levi Mierleinen in the AHL, and he's looked all right, but again, he's not ready for the NHL. It's obvious. So if you can be able to send him to the AHL as soon as possible, you do it. Matt Sogard, we've seen him in the NHL. He sucks. This is a problem because Ullmark has really been clicking, and now you're probably dealing with a couple of goalies injured, because I think Sogard was hurt at one point during the season in the AHL. So you have at least 2 goalies injured if Ullmark's out for an amount of time. So hopefully he's not, and hopefully he's good to go for Saturday. But let's talk about this game a little bit more, because, yeah, it wasn't good. So there were too many penalties. Particularly, I'm really upset the most from really Greg because of the double minor penalty at probably the worst time. It carried over a little bit into the following period, but really Greg has not done anything in particular that's been outstanding, except he's been forcing a ton of terrible, terrible penalties, and that's all he's been doing all year. So that was a problem. Just stupid penalties in general. Travis Hamonic, I mean, that's another conversation you can have. I know he had a terrible defensive play on the third goal, which led to the Adam Henrique goal to make it 3-1. I know there were a lot of people on Twitter that were upset with Hamonic on that one. And, you know, Hamonic's been a problem for the Senators, and there's no doubt about it, no question. But his contract is up after this year, so hopefully after the last game, whenever that is, whether we do make the playoffs, because even though we did lose this game, we are still in a playoff spot. We're still at 38 points. Right now, everything's all right. Anyways, for the other guys, I mean, the injuries, like I said, Michael Amadio didn't play this one. Obviously, I said Artem Zub, he's out long term. Ullmark now, we'll see what happens with that. Let's talk about David Perron, because apparently there was a report during the game that said that there might be an issue with his back, and he's out long term. So it was literally a month ago where we literally talked about him having like a day-to-day, whatever it was, game time decision. I forgot what it was, but apparently it was something with his ankle. Now it's his back, and he's out much longer than we expected him to be, and he's only played 9 games. He's had the personal issue earlier in the year. I'm not going to talk about that. That's his business and his business only. I'm thankful that everything went well for him and his wife, and now it's all the injury issues. So I really feel bad for David Perron. I mean, I don't think anything could have gotten worse for him this year. So hopefully he takes the time he needs to refreshen up a little bit, and if he's able to go back out on the ice, maybe he does, but we'll see. Because that is starting to become a distraction for some Sens fans, because David Perron obviously making $4 million just to, just only played 9 games. So that's all I got to say about Perron, but the injuries, we'll see what happens with that. They've been picking up a little bit. Again, just a 3-1 loss to the Oilers. I mean, they did look flat at times. Like, you could tell, like, the winning streak took a bit of a toll on them, especially in the Calgary and Vancouver games where they definitely had to earn it. They didn't play their best games in both of those games. So, I knew this winning streak was going to come to a close against Edmonton. It was going to come to a close at some point, but I do think this reflects on how good this team can be. I'm not going to say one loss is going to ruin everything, but what I've seen from the Senators the last few games has been absolutely impressive. So hopefully they can keep that up after the break and going into 2025, like I keep mentioning, because the way they've been playing, they're in the playoff spot right now, and they deserve to be in one. There's no doubt about it. So hopefully they can keep it up, and if they play the way they should have no problem making the playoffs. So with the loss, we fall to 18-14-2, so we stick at 38 points. Meanwhile, the Oilers improve to 21-11-2, so they have 44 points. Give me your thoughts on this game. I will come out with the Sabres rant tomorrow, and I will talk about the Winnipeg Jets game. Obviously, the preview's coming out Saturday, and I'll have probably a video too coming out in the middle of the week. So be on the lookout for those videos. Comment down below your thoughts on this one. Like and subscribe. But for now, this is Jack from the Senators Outlook, and go Sens go.
Thank you for watching this presentation of the Ottawa Senators Outlook. For more of this podcast, click on the videos on the left, and subscribe by clicking on the icon on the right. Thank you.